Hello, everybody. This is Renee Varnador with Soul Portal Journeys, and we have a new Venus phase. We know she's in her retrograde still, and boy, was that fabulous during the eclipse. Venus entered her rebirth phase. So, we're going to talk about that. There was so much going on during that period. You may not realize that there has been a rebirth, and thinking back over what you may have experienced during the eclipse, there you may understand now that we're in the emergence phase 2 days later. I'm filming this on March 31st, 2025, and that's when Venus opens into her emergence phase. But we're going to be talking about both phases, the birth phase happening on the 29th during the solar partial eclipse, and this amazing emergence. I'm finally seeing what is emerging for me, and I'm hoping that this video helps you understand a little better what may be emerging for you. I know a lot of people had sleep disruptions during the eclipse. There were people that had their like sense of depression and what am I doing? And I'm a failure. All of that was coming up. All I expected to be like this. And so sometimes our expectations of or what we're going to be doing that the culture that we were raised in calls success can really bite us. So that's been happening for a couple of people, and then a couple of people have been just feeling really anxious as things are rising up, because things are rising up a lot of times to be cleared during eclipses. It's like, hello, I'm ready to be released, and we can release all of that stuff that was making us anxious. And so a lot of people went through that. So in the comments below, let me know what you've been experiencing. There's a wide range of things you could have been experiencing over the last couple of days. Plus, we have Neptune that changed signs. Woo! I'm going to talk about that too. But here we are. We're in the middle of, well, not the middle, but we're on the home stretch for the Venus Retrograde series. She stations direct on April 20th. She started this whole thing on March 1st, and which was also when we stepped into the eclipse portal, which really won't be over for 2 more weeks. So we have this time to think about what it is that we went through. We know kind of what Venus went through because we've been tracking her phases for years, us astrologers. And there's a particular astrologer that I've been reading and studying and really like what he has to say. So I have Adam Gainsbourg book called The Light of Venus, which talks about all the phases that Venus goes through. And she goes through several during this part of her cycle, during this retrograde. She has two different retrogrades, but during this one, these are the phases that she goes through. So we were in the wholeness phase at the beginning of the year until she completed that process of wholeness. So maybe you were going through spiritual integration, sacred union of masculine and feminine, sacred union of the ego self and the divine higher self. Maybe you were going through all of that and you came to a completion point and you went, you know what? I'm as integrated as I'm going to be right now. And so that's when Venus started in her retrograde, and we stepped into reflection, reevaluating our values, reevaluating all of the things that have happened in our lives, reevaluating, do I really want to carry this burden, these expectations with me, or am I just going to forgive myself for all of the perceived mistakes that weren't even really mistakes? They were just, I was believing what other people were telling me. I was had ridiculous well, maybe not totally ridiculous, but I had expectations that didn't pan out. And we know from 12-step programs that expectations are premeditated resentments, and those resentments land on us. And so we need to, that's kind of what eclipses help us do, is release all of that. Years of not knowing how to move through eclipses, years of not knowing of how to feel the Venus retrograde cycle and jump on board and reevaluate with our own lives and come up with new values and come up with birth. So right at the eclipse, March 29th, birth. Whoa. Yeah. And so I know I experienced birth, and I know a couple of other people were experiencing it as this flow, this gorgeous, beautiful flow that was happening. And saying, okay, well, what is this? Because I also felt a lot of burning up of old skins, like stepping out of a serpent's skin. So I was feeling that, but at the same time, I was burning through that old stuff so that I could flow, so that things would not block me. So I was feeling it was like an hour of burning off all the old karma that I've been carrying, the old snake skin, so that I could rebirth and be more in flow for the last day of Neptune in Pisces, just before she moved to Aries, which we're going to talk about a little bit on the next slide. But here we are. I had a video about transition, inception, gestation, birth. We just talked about. Now, today, March 31st, as I'm filming this, we're in emergence, and the emergence stage is going to last for 13 days. So if you're finding this on, you know, April 11th, and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I miss? No, you are at the very completion of the emergence phase. And so you can be asking yourself, maybe it's going to it takes what it takes. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I get it. I got mine. I figured it out. Well, whatever. And maybe I'll figure out even more stuff by April 11th or 12th. Venus is going to go out of retrograde on April 12th, and that's going to be her fullness phase. So let's see what the astrology chart looks like today. What is emerging for you? How is it different from with you? Okay, I look within every day and I notice my presence and how I'm feeling and where my intuition is and how all that's working. And it's working different today. So that's interesting. Why? Why is it different? Well, there was a rebirth moment and I spent an hour in a vision, feeling that coming through, like I was experiencing the birth of the flow of emergence. Another one of the people in my private group on Patreon, Intuitives, was feeling this sense of flow and emergence. And she was like, what is this? Something was emerging from my own heart. So she was able to really tap in close. But then she's been amazing doing a lot of spiritual work for the last 2 decades. So you get what you pay for, kind of. If you've been doing the work, you're going to get the reward. If you just want to start doing the work now, great, come on in. We're helping people look within their own hearts to find out what is being birthed within us, what is emerging from us. So think about that question, meditate on that question. And if you have a difficult time meditating, join my Patreon group. That's what we do. We figure this stuff out. So March 30th, Neptune moved from watery Pisces, which I've loved because I've loved following my intuition and just saying all this external stuff. I was just releasing it and doing all of this stuff that I thought was important. It was just my culture telling me a bunch of stuff that used to work for people. It doesn't work for anybody anymore, really. It might be a few people still works for, but most of us, no, we're moving on. We're trying. We want new. There's newness. We feel this newness that we want to step into, but we kind of want to. It's unknown. We've never been here. None of us have ever watched and felt Neptune move from Pisces into Aries, because I don't think there's anybody on this planet that's 167 years old, which is the last time that Neptune moved into Aries. Although from history, I know that the spiritualists movement began around the time that Neptune was moving from Pisces into Aries, which makes sense because the watery Pisces is so intuitive and blissful and unity, right? And when you move then into Aries, you're able to take all of this intuitive wisdom was happening in the 1840s, and then boom, it hit the scene in 1848. And suddenly spiritualism was on stage live, experiencing knocking and tapping. So we've been knocking on the door of Neptune in Aquarius for like 167 years, a long time, right? We've been knocking at the door, and now we're going to step through the threshold. We are through the door. It's new. What we create from within us, not what used to be. We're not creating from the past anymore. There are some politicians that are trying to create from the past, but we, each one of us, we are a collective of humanity on the earth at this powerful time, birthing from within us what is the new. Don't get scared of the unknown. Walk through the light, walk through the threshold, find out what it feels like for you. After Neptune, this illusion, delusion, but spirituality, when you look at all the illusions and delusions you were under, we're all seeing that now. Don't blame yourself for what we're all seeing. Neptune is now spirituality, not the fake kind that that people are out there promoting. They know how to market better than they know the spiritual life. So we've been inundated with a lot of illusion, delusion, not only in our spirituality, but in our politics. So Neptune is coming clearer as it comes into Pisces, it comes into Aries. And so we're moving from this watery flow, this, oh yes, I have an intuitive hit. Oh yes, I got a download. You hear people say that all the time. And it's true, for some of us, and for some people, they have their own downloads, and then they try to project it onto everybody else. So, forgive me if what I'm saying isn't resonating with you yet. But Neptune has moved from water into fire. Okay. So what does that mean for you? For me, I'm feeling this more of a sense of, I'm going to speak out, not with the beautiful flow of blissful Pisces intuition, but speaking out with the tongues of fire. So that's coming up. I can feel it coming up. Haven't figured out all of its aspects yet, but I can feel that coming. Woo! Thank goodness I learned to have courage to speak up and speak out. Because when we're integrated and we're whole and we're in sacred union within our own being, that's our time to speak up, to sing it out, to speak it up. So that's for me. I move from intuition, my second house, Neptune, in my second house on my moon. And what do I have? I have this intuition. I have so much inside me. I have a connection to divine source from within me. Wow, we all do. But that was my realization during this time of Neptune in Pisces. Now it's going into my third house, where communication is just like going to shoot out with the tongues of fire. So that'll be interesting as I'm building my YouTube channel. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the next series is after Venus finally stations and goes direct. So, one thing I wanted to invite you into, if you didn't see where Venus is, this is the chart. Venus is right by this huge gold star, and the gold star is between Venus and Mercury. Mercury is her companion. They're like 1 degree apart. And Venus today is conjunct the North Node. So we get clarity today, which is good on the day of what's emerging. We get clarity on our soul path and our soul purpose, which, hello, just changed. Venus had a birth. We all had an eclipse. What is it now? What is emerging? And Venus is going to be heading, Venus is heading towards Saturn. Those two are going to meet. Saturn is on the Pisces Pegasus star Macabre. Neptune moved into Aries, but still she's conjunct Sheet. So if you still haven't figured out what the whole Neptune and Pisces thing was for you, that she's still on the star sheet, and you can meditate and answer that question for yourself. And in October, she's going to put her little foot back in Pisces at 29 degrees, just like she's not even going to hit the whole 29 degrees. And then she's going to come back. And when she comes back, Saturn will be with her, and they'll both be on the 0 degrees Aries reset point. So this is kind of like a practice run. So if you don't have all your ducks lined up, and you haven't released all your stuff, and you haven't figured out what Neptune and Pisces meant for you and all this, you got time. You got time before the Saturn and Neptune reset at 0 degrees Aries, happening in February of 2026. So that's what I have for you today on this. I want to show you real briefly, if you want to connect with me, if you want a reading but you're not sure, and if you want to jump into a group in my Patreon community, I have a lot of videos in there for free, and I have this $11.11 angel number, 1111. Okay. $11.11 US dollars every month to join intuitives, to connect with me, to have a conversation, to have private teachings, to go through an incredible meditation process where you really are able to look within and then share what you receive. And all of us are going to be sharing what we receive. There's 9 people in there at the moment. 19 people in the Patreon community, and I just started this, so I'm pretty happy about that. So it's an intimate sharing, and you can receive a sense of belonging. Our next class is going to be April 21st. It's we meet every third Monday, and we meet soon after the new moons, all the new moons. So we just met, and we're going to be meeting April 29th for the next new moon. And we're going to be doing a powerhouse meditation then too. But what are we studying on April 21st? We're working through multidimensionality, because we're multidimensional beings. We used to think about past lives, but we thought about it in terms of 3D, right? And guess what? Our soulful experience is way beyond 3D. We have access to all these amazing dimensions. And when I finally found 3D, because I have a Pisces moon, it was not easy for me to be in 3D. I used to burn pans and get in car accidents because I couldn't be in 3D while I was driving. That's not a problem anymore, thank goodness, because I found my grounding, and part of that was because of the first dimension and the second dimension, which helped us ground into this place where we are now, where we've chosen to be at this incredible time of the earth changing and humanity changing. So this just sense of, yeah, I belong here on the earth at this time, and I'm experiencing and learning so much as we go through this transition. And if you want to hear more about that, if you want to connect with me, you can join this Patreon group. If you're ready to just jump into a reading and find out which Venus phase you were born under and all of the things that are unique about you because of your Venus phase, if you want to know what that is, if you want to know your archangel stars, check out my Patreon group, which will be in the description, and check out my website. So, love and blessings. And remember to meditate on what is emerging from within you now. Love and blessings. Bye bye.